From being one of the strongest centers to ever play the game, to posterizing and humiliating his defenders, we're going to go over the most powerful and downright filthy dunks from Shaquille O'Neal throughout his star-studded career. As one of the biggest names in all of sports over 30 years since his debut with the Orlando Magic, there isn't a single fan of the NBA who doesn't know who he is. It isn't just his name that's big either, because Shaq is built like a semi-truck, being over 7 feet tall and almost 325 pounds. Hence why his 1993 rap album named Shaq Diesel is so fitting. With that massive frame, he's not only destroyed his opposition on the glass, he has demolished the glass, the rim, and the entire backboard several times throughout his career. Even after his time in the NBA, O'Neal continues to be one of the biggest faces of the league as a basketball analyst on TNT, figuratively dunking on his rival and co-host Charles Barkley on a nightly basis. So strap in tight and put your safety glasses on till the end of the video, because we're going to go over his backboard-shattering dunks, how he rose to NBA superstardom, his rivalry with the late legend Kobe Bryant, and how he's still competitive even beyond his NBA retirement. Something that's no surprise to anyone is the fact that Shaquille O'Neal is an absolute freak of nature. He demoralized his opponents for 21 seasons in the NBA and has been a part of some of the most successful runs of basketball of all time, including the three-peat with the Los Angeles Lakers and his chip with the Miami Heat. What's worse for wear is his championships are only scratching the surface. O'Neal's tenure in the NBA is littered with accolades. Other than being a Hall of Famer, he's also on the 75th anniversary team. After gathering up all those championship rings, he's been Finals MVP 3 times. And he's been an All-Star 15 times in his career, on top of being on 14 All-NBA teams. Thanks to his explosive offense and unstoppable dunking power, he was the all-time scoring leader twice. Although he feels he was snubbed a few years in the running, he still bagged up the 1999 to 2000 season MVP. And if you thought dunking in bully ball was all that he could do, he has also been on 3 all-defensive teams, showing that he's more than just a powerhouse on the offensive end. He could end any night with more than 20 rebounds and over 10 blocks. When it comes to his dunks though, nobody wanted to be in his way. If Shaq had the ball and he was down low, it might have well been a free basket. Just ask anyone he absolutely yammed it on throughout his career. Names like David Robinson, Sean Bradley, Chris Dudley, and even Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen on a failed double team. There was no stopping the Shaq attack, and if you tried, you might just be planted into the canvas. Teams tried their best to limit him with the infamous Hack-a-Shaq, purposefully fouling O'Neal to get him to the foul line, which was by far his greatest weakness. He never shot more than 62% on free throws, and for his career average, it was an abysmal 52% in the regular season. But try as they might, Shaq would end up on any given night with insane stat lines. On his birthday on the 6th of March 2000, he scored a career high of 61 points and 23 rebounds, and had the crowd on their feet for the entire game. O'Neal was a prodigy long before he was in the NBA though. While he attended Robert Cole High School, he won 68 games out of 69, losing only a single game. Shaq then moved on to Louisiana State University, and he was hyped beyond belief. And for good reason. He lit up the court night after night and was frequently called the best young talent in America. He even landed himself on the cover of Sports Illustrated. With all of his success in college and high school, he elected to join the draft in his senior year. As expected, he would be the first overall pick in the 1992 draft, going to the Orlando Magic. He immediately made a larger-than-life impact on the NBA. Shaq would have impossible stat lines for a rookie, with 23.4 points, 13.9 rebounds, and 3.5 blocks. This, of course, landed him on the All-Rookie team and the title of Rookie of the Year. A few years later, Shaquille found himself on the U.S. national team, and they crushed their opposition so bad that Mark Price said he doesn't even remember most of the games because they were over by halftime. As a 7'1", 325-pound wrecking ball of a human being, it turns out he isn't just amazing at basketball either. Shaq is genuinely incredibly talented in the media and business too. On top of being a gold and platinum selling rap artist, O'Neal is a bag of laughs and a fun sideshow to the game on TNT as a co-host of Inside the NBA. Outside of the league, O'Neal's been on top of his game as a sponsor of so many different brands, we just can't list them all. But the list numbers well over 50. No doubt you've probably seen him in many commercials like Papa John's, Pepsi, Taco Bell, Oreos, Gold Bond, and even car insurance like The General. Even though he did and does have several sponsorships and still branches out to this day, he has stayed fiercely loyal to promoting the National Basketball League. Shaq can still be seen on Inside the NBA on TNT, alongside Charles Barkley, Ernie Johnson Jr., and Kenny Smith. His goofiness on the show has been with him throughout his whole career inside and out of the NBA, and his presence is otherworldly in whatever he does. Shaquille is so enigmatic that he has changed the NBA forever, multiple times. He forced rule changes to illegal defense, with the NBA allowing zone defense in order to slow down points in the paint. The league also had to change the rules on fouling to stop hack-a-Shaq. The most insane thing that O'Neal's done, though? He broke so many backboards and rims that they had to re-engineer the basket and everything it was attached to so they didn't collapse after a massive Shaq attack. Before they eventually Shaq-proofed the bucket, O'Neal would routinely bring the entire hoop and the frame to the floor. Like in 1992 versus the Suns, where it just folded up after O'Neal went up for a jam on an offensive rebound. Later on in 1993, he snapped the entire mechanism for the bucket against the Nets. His power was otherworldly. Just ask the recipient of his most disrespectful dunk of all time, Chris Dudley. Shaq brought it down so hard on the man that he fell flat on his back. It wasn't over there though. In his anger, he got back on his feet and did one of the most ballsy things of all time. He threw the ball at Shaq. Beyond the realm of disrespect was when the Spurs' David Robinson did the foolish thing of trying to play defense on Shaquille. And he got hammered twice in the same game, with Shaq putting him on the mat. O'Neal has one accolade that many other superstars don't though. While he was on the Magic, he met MJ in the 1995 Eastern Conference semifinals, where he would put the brakes on the Bulls playoff series completely. It was in this series that Shaq may have one of the greatest feats of any superstar. He powered straight through Jordan and Pippen, putting them both on the same poster. It would be the first and the last time anyone would ever dunk on the two of them at the same time. When it comes to legendary duos, when Shaq was on the Lakers with Kobe, their pairing was nearly a cheat code. With the agility and basketball IQ of Kobe and the behemoth of Shaq, their lobs basically made the regular season a simple formality. Before they got heated at each other and fell apart in their fourth deep postseason run together, they were quite literally unstoppable. Watching their three-peat makes basketball seem easy, and if they didn't collapse as a duo due to infighting over who was going to be the bigger star, they may have had many more rings under their belt today. After Shaq left for Miami, he was determined to get a ring without Kobe, and he did just that in 2006 against Dallas, winning the series in 6 games. Kobe would have the last laugh though, getting 2 rings without Shaq while he stayed on the Lakers. After they both retired from the league, they would go on to interview each other and reminisce about their dynasty with LA, even saying if they stayed together, they would have been able to get 10 championships. They were quick to point out that they were both in the wrong in their feud, and they rekindled the friendship between each other after everything was said and done. In remembrance of Kobe, Shaq reflected back and said, "Kobe and I, our legacy will never be duplicated or imitated." And that couldn't be more true. Although we see flashes from time to time from similar up-and-coming stars like Zion Williamson, Shaquille O'Neal will forever go down as one of the greatest players to ever play in the low post. His incredible dunking power and ability to score at will are simply legendary. The dynasty he created with Kobe was electrifying and mystifying, and we may never see anything like it ever again.